Hello, happy Friday. I decided to do this live because I was trying to figure out the best way how to talk about what my personal method for non-hormonal birth control is. And so I was like, why not do a live and then we can save it for later for everybody. So I'm going to talk about natural cycles and why I personally use it as my form of non-hormonal birth control. And really exciting news, as you may have saw on my story, I now have a discount code with them. I'm now partnered with them. So if you're just here for the code, I will give you that code. It is, so you go to Natural Cycles. They have they're a little pink, purplish colored logo on their Instagram. You can click the link in their bio, or you can go to their website. The code is Katrina, and it gives you 20% off the yearly subscription. So it doesn't give you 20% off if you just want to do the month-to-month prescription, but it does give you 20% off the yearly subscription, and you get a free thermometer as well when you do the yearly subscription. So I am here to answer any questions that you have about natural cycles. I'll tell you everything that I know about it, which is a lot. I feel like I'm very educated on natural cycles, so I'll tell you everything that I know about it, why I personally think it's the best. So yeah, if you have any questions right off the bat, go ahead and feel free to pop them in here. A good handful of you have hopped in, so hello, happy Friday. Okay, so basically let's just get down to like what natural cycles is. Okay, so natural cycles is an option for birth control that is regulated by the FDA. So this is really huge because this is the first fertility awareness method type that has been regulated by the FDA. So that means it has to go through all the same tests that all hormonal birth controls have been through, or non-hormonal options, and they have data to back it up. So it is 98% effective with proper use. And that's pretty good. There's no birth control method that is 100% effective. Some IUDs and pills are 99% effective, so it's pretty much, right up there with them. But it is a good thing to note too, what the birth control method that you're choosing is, what the common, because not everybody does it perfectly, right? Like it's 99% effective if you're using it perfectly, but say you take your pill at the wrong time or whatever, then it's not perfect, and then that use can drop down. So for some birth controls, it drops down to like 91%. For this one, it drops down to, let me make sure I get it right, 93% effective with typical use. So it doesn't really widen the window a huge amount. The main reason why it would drop down is if you're having unprotected sex on your red days, which I'll talk about what that is. Let's see. How long have you been on it? I've been on it for over a year. I started it last January. Isn't birth control supposed to be free? Great question. How much is this and why is it not covered under our insurance or anything? So it actually is covered. It can be covered under your insurance. Because it's a non-traditional method, it is not covered like others are, but you can use your FSA account. And if you have an FSA account with your insurance, you can use it under that. So that's a great option too. But yeah, the reason, I'm actually not 100% sure on the main reason that it's not covered, but I'm assuming because it's like an alternative method, and oftentimes alternative methods can be like not covered under insurance, which, is kind of frustrating, but I feel like that's kind of starting to change a little bit. Okay, so let me just first tell you how this works. So every morning, right when you wake up, you take your temperature, and then you enter your temperature into the app. So how much is it if it's not covered? Oh, it's, normally it is $7 a month or $90 if you pay in full. With the 20% discount, it's like $70, plus the thermometer is free, which is normally $14. So it's not super expensive. It's not like It's definitely not free either though, but hopefully one day it will be free. But in the meantime, I feel like it's not too bad. Okay, so yeah, first thing in the morning, you take your temperature, you track it in the app, and then it tells you if you are fertile or not that day, and it starts working instantly. So like the first day that you use it, it will tell you fertile or not fertile. At the beginning, you will have more what's considered red days. So if you're trying to prevent pregnancy, it'll come up as a red day. You'll have more red days than you will green days, but it will be accurate if you can have sex or not. It does not, though, prevent, obviously, STDs. So that is something to take into account, of course. And you also do have to be over the age of 18 to use it. Disclaimers right there. Okay, so you take your temperature, you put it in the app, and then the app's algorithm tells you whether or not you're fertile that day. The reason why it works and why tracking your temperature works is that right after ovulation, our temperature goes up slightly. And so the thermometer tracks that, and it realizes when your temperature goes up, and so then it knows that you just ovulated. If you didn't know already, which I don't want to assume anything because I didn't know this at the beginning of my hormone journey, you cannot get pregnant any day of the month. You can only get pregnant when you are ovulating. The reason that can become a little bit like you hear people saying, oh, well, like I wasn't even ovulating or it wasn't even the middle of my cycle and I got pregnant, is because every woman's body is different. And unless you're familiar with when you ovulate in your cycle, yes, it could seem like you get pregnant really close to when you're on your period, or you might have multiple ovulations throughout your cycle. So it's important to know when you do ovulate. But I will say too that if you're ovulating multiple times throughout your cycle, or if you're not ovulating somewhat close to the middle of your cycle, it's probably a sign of an imbalance. So it's really good to know either way, and to use this method to confirm that you are ovulating. So that's basically the gist of how it works. If you are given a green day and you're not ovulating, you are free to have sex without any other protection and not get pregnant. Of course, there's always that 98% risk, but it's not like on your green days you have to use any other method, including like the pull-out method or including using a condom or anything like that. Yeah. Let's see what else. I have some little notes pulled up here so I didn't forget anything. Oh yeah, the great thing about this app too is that if you plan on trying to get pregnant, then you can switch the method from prevent to plan. So then it will help you plan for pregnancy, which is also really nice. Kind of cool. Let's see. What else? Does anybody have any questions about it that I haven't answered? I think another thing I do want to say is that this is using, if you've heard of the fertility awareness method where you track your temperature and chart it yourself, along with using like cervical mucus and tracking that. This is similar to that. However, personally, I don't really teach those methods unless I'm working with a one-on-one client because it is not FDA regulated. And I always want to make sure that I'm like putting you in good, safe hands, because we've really been made to fear being on any kind of natural birth control method, right? Like I know a lot of you have expressed that to me before. A lot of my clients have expressed that to me before. So I want to make sure like you're in good hands. And I feel like with natural cycles, Katie, kind of to answer your question, what made you decide to try it versus other options? One, I didn't want to be on a hormonal birth control anymore. And two, I wanted to have something that I felt like was super reliable and that was regulated by the FDA. So that is why I use this method, and this is why whenever somebody asks me for something, this is always what I tell them about, as opposed to any other methods. Yeah. But with that being said too, there are a lot of things to take into consideration. Like if you work shifts, you can use this one. It asks you, it goes through a questionnaire at the beginning, but if you use shifts and you're staying up all night, or if you work night shifts, or if you're working like 24-hour shifts, you'll get a lot more red days most likely, because sleep impacts your hormones a lot and your levels a lot. So that's one thing to take into consideration. If you're a really heavy drinker, that's another thing to take into consideration. This probably won't be the best method for you, because if you're hungover, you have to, you have to discard that morning's temperature, the next morning's temperature. So that's something to take into consideration. What else is something to take into consideration? If you have a really irregular cycle, that's another thing to take into consideration. So if you have a really irregular cycle, first, come talk to me so I can send you my irregular cycle goddess guide so you can get that, or join the next round of hormonal bliss, apply for the next round of hormonal bliss, because we want to get your cycle regular. That's very important for your health. But also, if your cycle is irregular, it's probably a sign that you're not ovulating regularly, and so this method won't be super beneficial, because you'll get a lot of red days. You'll get a lot of days that are telling you that it's not good to have unprotected sex on those days. Yeah. Any other questions? I think that's about it. Again, I'm going to put the link in my bio to get this with my code. Otherwise, you can go to their website and use the code Katrina for 20% off and a free thermometer if you do the yearly. Only applies to the yearly. And you can use your FSA, your something savings account. I can't remember what the F stands for. But yes. Okay. Well, it looks like there are no other questions. Thank you for everyone that joined. Oh, let's see. How many days each cycle do you have to use protection? Oh, great question. Great question. Should have covered this. So ovulation is typically 3 to 5 days or 3 to 6 days. So those are the days where you would want to use protection. However, everybody's body is different, so everybody can get different lengths of red days. So it'll vary person to person, but typically it's 3 to 5 or 3 to 6. And is the pull-out method actually safe? What do you mean? Do you mean to use all the time? Because no, I mean, I don't know, safe is kind of a weird word. It's not super effective. But you don't have to pull out on your green days, is what I'm saying. With this method, with this FDA regulated method. Flexible. Hello, Gaines. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Will you be saving this to view later? Yeah, I'm going to save this to my profile as an IGTV. Hi, Jane. Okay, yeah. I think the pull-out method is 70-something% effective, but you don't have to use the pull-out method with this. On your green days, you are fine to have sex to completion. FSA. Oh, flexible savings account. Thank you. Duh. Spending account. Jeez. Yikes, Katrina. I need to get my terms. Guys, it's Mercury in retrograde, and my week has just been, it's been a week. Yeah, you can use your FSA. So yay, that's super exciting. So it can be free if you have an FSA, because some of them can be, I think ours is a couple $100. So that would cover this plus some more. Please tell us how to use it. I did. I just told you all how to use it. You're going to have to go back and watch it, Jane. I'm just wrapping it up. But it's super exciting. I love this method. With the discount, it's $70 a year. So pretty good. And Jane, we have the same health insurance. Well, soon I guess we will have the same health insurance once you get married. But yeah, it's covered by our FSA, flexible spending account. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go. If there are no more questions, I'm gonna save this to my IGTV. Happy Friday and have a wonderful weekend.